While playing Freelancer over the past month, I decided to go back and watch some older assassin movies in order to discover the influences of both 47 as a character and certain mechanics of the game itself. This is the very first game, Codename 47, released in the year 2000. Let's start with some lesser-known movies from the 90s that most certainly had an impact on the game. In chronological order, let's begin with 1993's Point of No Return. While Point of No Return is far from the greatest assassin movie ever made, oftentimes extremely comical in its execution, like this incredibly acted sniper scene, there are some story beats and aesthetics which cannot be overlooked as sources of inspiration for the Hitman series. The story revolves around Maggie, a junkie and a murderer, for whatever reason that's left unexplained, has heightened reflexes and instincts compared to normal people, making her a deadly weapon. After being sentenced to death, she wakes up in a secret government facility whose sole purpose is to train assassins. The notion of a shadow government organization that secretly trains assassins is basically the blueprint for Hitman's ICA, International Contract Agency. While not the strongest influence overall, Point of No Return does include some influential aspects, like the use of disguises to get close to targets, and what I can assume is the primary influence of the aesthetic for the Sapienza bodyguards. At the very least, we can check off use of disguises and aesthetics along with influential lore. Point of No Return is available for digital rental just about everywhere if you want to give it a watch. Next, we're going to move up to 1994 with The Professional, which has to be one of, if not the most iconic assassin movie of all time. While the entire middle of the movie is essentially a character drama, the film itself is bookended by some of the greatest action scenes ever made. In the very first 5 minutes of the movie, we get French assassin Leon taking out bodyguards in true silent assassin style, featuring ledge takedowns, garroted takedowns, setting traps, and literally manifesting himself from the shadows to deliver a message to his crime boss target. It's absolutely badass. Additionally, if we look back at Hitman contracts from 2004, there is a level named Hunter and Hunted, which seems to be directly inspired by the SWAT scene at the end of The Professional. While not the only time SWAT teams are used in the Hitman series, each time that theme is featured, it's hard not to draw a comparison to the third act of The Professional. Overall, we've got aspects of Leon's character that seem directly inspired by 47. From his demeanor and tone, to his silent assassin approach, to similar aesthetics from Leon's character and design, to bodyguard uniforms, to specific mechanics implemented directly into the games, to the use of disguises to circumvent alerted guards, and on and on and on. Safe to say, The Professional was a heavy influence on both 47 the character and the Hitman series in general. The Professional is also available everywhere for digital rental if you want to check it out. Skipping ahead now to 1997 with The Jackal, an often overlooked gem for the assassin genre, and features a ton of similarities between the central antagonist, Bruce Willis's character, The Jackal, and 47, along with a plethora of influences to the early Hitman story and gameplay. Starting out, we get a Russian government plot which involves hiring the Jackal, a shadowy boogeyman of an assassin thought of as a ghost to the international community, who's tasked with taking out some high-ranking US officials. While not a direct comparison, this does seem like a possible inspiration for 2002's Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, as 5 of the missions involve Russian plots. What makes The Jackal such a great assassin movie is the amount of emphasis focused on both disguises and fake identities. The Jackal is constantly changing his appearance to stay one step ahead of the authorities, all the while preparing for his contract by acquiring a custom-made weapon system. Gameplay-wise, there's a lot to work with here, from audible distractions used to disorient bodyguards, to plenty of silenced pistol usage, to the use of multiple identities and disguises, to creating fuel leaks and subsequent ignition, to the Jackal's general cold and calculating demeanor, and you've got an undoubtedly good source of influence for the Hitman series. The Jackal is available for digital rental anywhere you can find it. In my opinion, those 3 90s movies, Point of No Return, The Professional, and The Jackal, had a huge impact on the early Hitman games from a gameplay and aesthetic standpoint. Now let's jump ahead a bit into the 2000s for 2 other notable movies that I feel impacted the middle and later era of the Hitman games, ending with the recently rebranded World of Assassination. Note that I'm going to exclude the John Wick series from this list because I'd rather mention lesser-known movies versus well-known franchises, and because the Hitman series had already matured by the time John Wick released in 2014. So moving ahead to 2006, we've got Lucky Number Slevin. Do not sleep on this movie. I cannot recommend it enough. Of all the assassin movies I've watched to compile this list, Lucky Number Slevin easily has the best story by far. In addition to being well written, we get several influences to gameplay mechanics, like clockwork machinations or knowing a target's route and when they'll be isolated to take them by surprise. We also get lethal injections and even a baseball thrown takedown. Bruce Willis is back as yet another assassin, this time around as Mr. Good Cat, and really crushes it with his performance. Good Cat is much more tempered and reserved than the Jackal, adding a streak of empathy to his character that the Jackal simply lacked. It's here that I can really see the separate, influential elements which contributed to the character of 47. To me, he's really an amalgam of Leon, the Jackal, and Mr. Good Cat. Ruthlessly stoic and hell-bent on survival, though not without empathy, while still being cold, calculating, and always 10 steps ahead. Slevin is such a good movie in general, and I think it really cemented Willis as one of the best assassin character actors of all time. Given recent news about his health, I hope people will remember Willis for the impact he had on cinema and beyond, with 47 being one such clear example of that. Again, I highly recommend you check this movie out, and you can catch it currently streaming on Prime. Finishing up now in 2011, and while not contributing anything directly to the character of 47, Unknown is an extremely good assassin movie and features a ton of scenes involving mechanics that ended up directly in the World of Assassination trilogy. This movie is kind of a slow burn, with the first half being more of a mystery thriller when, bam, it suddenly shifts gears and becomes scene after scene of glorious hitmanning. We get everything from silent takedowns, neck snapping, syringe poisoning of an IV, syringe poisoning via lethal injection, gratuitous briefcase shots, accident takedowns, the Sheik, remote explosives, you name it, Unknown has it. It's honestly hilarious how many mechanics from the game are in this one movie, so without a doubt it had to have been one of the more recent influences to the Hitman series. Unknown is currently streaming on Netflix, so give it a watch. Well, that wraps up my top 5 assassin movies that I believe influenced the Hitman series, going back 30 years to when the genre itself started to take off in film. Though hardly the most comprehensive list, what additional movies do you think influenced the games? What do you think of the 5 I've mentioned here today? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video or got a recommendation or two out of it, click the buttons to help me out so that the algorithm can get it out there to more Hitman fans. It really goes a long way, and I appreciate the support. As for additional Hitman content, I'm still planning on making one final Freelancer video now that I've reached level 100 and my live stream series has come to an end. So keep an eye out for that montage of my most hilarious Freelancer target takedowns in the coming weeks. I'll also be streaming the new Resident Evil 4 remaster at the end of the month, so be sure to swing by for that one as well. I also want to credit chatters Anubis, Prithvi, and Adam G for their contribution to this discussion, as the idea for this video came about through the Freelancer live streams. Thanks again for watching.
Take it easy.